Welcome back to the Raising Wild Hearts podcast. I'm Ryann Watkin, and around here, we believe we can change the world by starting at home in our own minds and hearts. This is episode 144, and today's conversation is about widening the world without losing ourselves. I'm joined by Monica Virga Alborno, the founder of wanderwildfamilyretreats, creator of the Wand Her Wild community, and host of the Wand Her Wild podcast. Originally from New Jersey and now living in Norway, Monica has spent the last 14 years living across continents, raising two children outside her home country and learning in very real ways how place, pace, and culture shape our nervous systems, our parenting, and our sense of home. So in this episode, we're going to talk about raising globally minded kids without pressure or performance, what travel can teach our children about empathy and resilience, and how expanding our children's world often begins by softening our own. Monica, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm in awe by women and mothers in particular who do very big travel because there's something in me that it's just like outside of my comfort zone. My husband is like a big adventurer, and I have him to really come on, like we can do this. And our biggest trips we take are like really long road trips up to Michigan every summer, which is a whole ordeal in itself. But to me, like the thought of traveling internationally is like, oh my God. So it's like, it sounds a little crazy, but this year, 2026, we are getting our passports. And so we have decided, I know, we've decided we're going to do it. I don't know when and how and all that, maybe through one of your retreats. But tell us how you became an adventurer, because that's what I see you as. I don't know if you'd call yourself that, but tell me how you became that.
That I definitely want to hold that adventure energy. So thanks for that.
Good.
But yeah, like to be honest, I think that adventure energy doesn't necessarily need to be like a globe trotting type lifestyle. I grew up in northern New Jersey, and I kind of started on this path of being so cool with living out of my comfort zone and going across the globe, just from being raised in a way that was like kind of like what you speak on here, like being raised with a wild heart. Like my father did a lot of outdoor activities with us. We did a lot of camping on remote islands with our boat. And like we just did all these things we were exposed to at a very young age that made me feel like, okay, I'm cool living outside of my comfort zone. And it's really fun and exciting. My parents never had passports. Like, we never did international travel growing up. The first time they went abroad was when I moved abroad after college. So,
Wow.
I mean, it just kind of happened that I had those roots and foundation that I felt comfortable. And I attribute that a lot to feeling like I had a really sound home base. I had very supportive families, and not just like my internal family, but like everybody who was around us, like my aunts, uncles, cousins, we all lived like 10 minutes from each other, and we did so much together that I was like always like, if I go out there and I don't feel like I fit in, or like if I mess something up and make a mistake, I know I can always go back. Like they've got me. And then also, yeah, just like being in nature and really just kind of living that adventure lifestyle where it could just be in your backyard.
That's so cool. I love that. I know that my husband and me a little bit is setting up our kids to really, I think, be adventurers, and they're going to be what they're going to be, right? I'm not like, oh, they have to be adventurers, but I do think nature does play a big part. So I love that's part of your
Yeah.
story. So to me, what you're speaking about is like this secure attachment that you had with your home base. Like you were very securely attached to feel like, and in like childhood development, this is like when the baby is securely attached at certain developmental milestones, it can like crawl away from the mom and look back and see that mom is there, and then go a little further. And as our toddlers start to explore on the playground, they like push those boundaries because they're securely attached. And so I love that that's part of your story. It's so cool. It kind of mirrors like us parenting our kids too.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I went away to college at Penn State, so like one state away. And then I made a huge leap where I was like, I'm going to get on a plane and go to Kuwait in the Middle East. And that was the beginning of my international moves and time abroad. But yeah, it started with
Wow.
that baby step of a state away, and then and then
Yeah.
a couple continents away.
So why did you go to Kuwait? Why there?
Yeah, so in university, I studied petroleum and natural gas engineering. That's my like expertise. So I was working for an energy company and I knew I wanted to work with them because they are a global company. So it would be a lot easier for me to have some roots, like kind of like I was getting back to, like have these little roots and family in each country because wherever they move you, you live with the people you work with. You have like a complex where everybody lives together. It's a very um, um, like, I don't know, it kind of feels like a family. Like everybody works together, but you also are all supportive because nobody there has any other people that they know.
Like a little
Um,
village.
yeah, your own little village kind of. And so I felt that was really intriguing. I'm like, I could go move to all these very exotic places, developing countries, places that most people don't ever get the opportunity to even travel to because they're not really travel destinations, and I would still be supported. I know I'm working for a company that speaks English, does business in English, and that I will have some people there that I know and somewhere I'm gonna live, someone looking out for me. And that's kinda how it started, and that's how I met my husband, and yeah, how it all kinda started with the transition to this global lifestyle.
Take us back to the moment when Wander Wild Retreats was birthed. Like, how did this come about? Where did the idea come from? How did you decide to get the courage to act on it too?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, fast forward, I was working in the Middle East, then I worked in sub Saharan Africa, then I requested to kind of take a step back and a slower pace because I wanted to have kids. And in sub Saharan Africa, you know, have dengue fever, malaria, Zika, like you have all these things that make it really difficult to start a family. So, you know, flash forward, we go to Norway. My husband's Saudi Arabian. I'm American. We're living in Norway until now. And this was in 2018. Had a miscarriage. Then it took us 2 years to get pregnant. And we were going to start our IVF journey when I got pregnant naturally, which I hear happens so often. So it was just happened that way. It seemed like it was the right timing finally. But then I got pregnant during the pandemic, 2020, had my daughter, and I couldn't have any family visit here. I was very isolated. Norway has an incredible system as far as healthcare and benefits for families. I can't rave about it enough. But because of the pandemic, it was just the two of us and we couldn't have anybody fly in. And it really put me in the state of like, okay, I'm not moving for the first time in my life. I'm on maternity leave. I had a lot of space in my head that was clear. It was the first time I wasn't pursuing any type of like degree, higher education, like climbing the corporate ladder, and also was experiencing this extreme isolation and just everything that motherhood had already kind of tested me with, like getting pregnant and then having a difficult birth experience that I wasn't anticipating. And that is when Wander Wild creatively came to me. I just was thinking, like, oh my gosh, like we are experiencing so much when we're stepping into motherhood. And I feel like I've had a really challenging career and I am a hard worker. And usually, if I put my mind to something, I can figure it out. But like, I can't really figure this out. This is different. This is a whole other thing. And so, Wander Wild became a space. And until now, I feel it's a connection retreat more than anything. It's a retreat to come and connect with yourself, who you are as a mother now, how you identify with yourself, and also with your child away from all of the things we always have on our plates. Like we take that mental load, we take that decision fatigue, and we just give you this beautiful activity schedule that unveils itself over 4 days and within a community of moms and kids. So yeah, that's how the whole kind of thing started. And this was back in 2021, and we're still going now.
That's so cool. One of the things that's really hard for us when we travel in the summer is we've done, I think, up to 8 weeks. And it was like so many parts of it were great, but I found myself feeling really isolated within our own little nuclear family. And we did
Mhm.
see family along the way at certain stops, but that was actually kind of a small fraction of the time. And so the rest of the time, it's the five of us together in an SUV in a small hotel room in like very small cramped spaces. We're off our routines. And while a lot of it, most of it was really fun, some of it like was really intense and really like kind of draining. And for me, like I look back and forward too of the way we want to plan in the future. And I'm like, we're missing that like community piece. Like we want to know
Mhm.
that when we go to a playground, like other kids are going to be there and like my kids have kids to play with. So I love like that's one of the things you say is like you're in community with other parents, other kids. Is it just moms or is it moms and dads?
So it originally started as mom and kid retreats. We're having a
Okay.
family retreat this year in 2026 in the spring over
Oh.
Easter weekend in Florida. So,
Oh, really? Oh my
yes,
gosh. Where in Florida?
Sebastian, Florida. It's like on the St. Sebastian River Preserve.
Amazing. That sounds
Yeah,
awesome. Is there still
yeah.
space?
There is, yes. So
Oh,
maybe
okay.
we can share the link here if people are interested. But it's
Yes.
exactly what you're saying. Like, it's for the people who are craving that community and they know there's going to be activities there that are holistic. Like, there is a childcare program. It's only 2 hours during the day and then 2 hours at night. So you're spending a lot of time as a family, but you're also getting a little bit of me time.
Oh my God.
And
I love that.
and the specific family retreat, we break away during the day. So the dads have an activity, the moms have an activity, and the kids. And then there's also things that, we're incorporating everybody does together. We do things like interactive sound journeys where you're understanding the healing benefits of sound and cacao circles where you can really open up and share about where you are in a heart-led way, in a very supportive community. So lots of different things we do. We do movement, but, yeah, I think the whole thing stemmed from, like, I don't wanna go to this huge kid resort that's, like, very loud and overstimulating and has all these things where it's quote unquote childcare, but they just stick your kid in a room with a coloring box. Like I want it to feel really intentional. And so it's an entire nature-based learning program that we run for the kids. Like the kids are treated like retreat guests. So you don't feel any guilt about also bringing them on this experience that can feel like it's self-indulgent. It's also like equally a really good opportunity for you to bond as a family.
I'm obsessed with this idea so much. I think this is the coolest thing. This is what's missing from our travel here. Definitely in the US, but is this a thing in other countries or are you one of the pioneers?
We are a pioneer, which is cool. And
Very
I'm an
cool.
engineer, so I'm innovative, so that's
Yeah.
cool. But, yeah, we're the only retreat company in the States or in North America. Actually, I think the entire Americas that openly welcomes kids. There are a couple mom and kid retreats in Europe, and I've connected with them a bit. They've started a little bit after me. We all kind of started similar times. But yeah, there's very few out there, and you would think there would be more just because we are all really craving this opportunity to have some wellness, some connection, being in nature in a way that's still like luxurious because I like our spaces to look really beautiful by design as well, and that's not somewhere that as parents we're invited into. Most of the time we're in like these messy places, right, that they stick us.
For sure. For sure. So there's something about the way you're talking about the retreat that makes me think that I would come back from this retreat like not depleted, that the kids wouldn't come back depleted. We wouldn't need to be like, of course, there's like a certain level when you travel, like of like getting back into a regular routine. But like you said, they're not in like a room with a coloring pad, like watching a screen and eating candy for a treat, right? This is like more outdoors. It just sounds like to me like it's like a reset, like retreat.
Mhm.
I mean, that's like I guess what's the difference? Let's go here. Between like retreat and like vacation. Is there a difference? And like how can we break that down?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think vacation, travel, and retreat are all different too, because you can go on a
Yeah.
vacation and really not be mindful about it, right? You can eat greasy food, you can kind of bop around all day with even getting in these phases that are like I wanna do everything on the bucket list in that location, and you're just, like, plowing through your day without really enjoying any of it, and you're like, "Well, was supposed to feel good because I did everything on this bucket list, but I actually just feel like I need a vacation from my vacation." So,
Exactly.
so that's vacation, and then travel, I feel like, is a little bit more intentional because 'cause you're going somewhere with the intent to really get to see the place and get to know the culture and the people and interact a little bit more deeply. And then retreat is when and this is my definition, I guess, but how I would see it is retreat is more going inward as well. Like you are incorporating some travel elements, but you're also having the opportunity to do inner work and you're guided by a team that's there to help you do it. And a retreat, you're generally not moving to different places, right? You go to one place, you settle in, and I'm not a woman of one at these retreats. I have a whole team that comes and supports me, that range from, people who were previous childcare directors to wellness instructors, other retreat leaders that and are part of my team that are all just very passionate about supporting families. And, I think that's the difference, that you're really held and you're given the opportunity to look inward and develop yourself and take things with you that long outstand when you come home. Some of those vacations you leave and you kind of almost forget what you did.
Yeah.
um, so retreats are really meant to go back and absorb into your lifestyle and give you something that you can continue to practice long after.
Yeah. Let's talk about how it really bridges connection between everyone in the family, like everyone who attends. Like, how is that connection really flourishing there and then also back at home too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part being out of your comfort zone, right? Everyone is in a new space. Everyone is a little bit out of their comfort zone, and that evens the playing field for kids and parents. So you're all more open to, yeah, I think just being open with one another and discovering new things about one another, and experiencing new things together for the first time. So that really brings something special to it, and it's also just feeling like our retreat specifically, I would feel like you're not parenting in another city when you're doing an experience like this. Like we're there to even outside of the childcare program, we're there to be giving you all these earth to table meals that are also very much kid friendly. One of my chefs she's a mom to a picky eater, which is amazing because she knows exactly what they're gonna want to eat. That's still really nourishing for your body, and so we're taking care of a lot of the things that you would normally on, especially for moms, feel like you have to take care of even on vacation. That takes away from just being present with your kids. So that present piece, like just fully sitting with one another, listening to one another, enjoying really spending time without thinking about what's the next thing. That's what makes this experience really special.
I love that. What does traveling with kids teach them about empathy, resilience, life, the skills we really need to be thriving and flourishing human beings?
Yeah. I mean, traveling is such an incredible doorway to, I think, understanding yourself better. The way that you approach situations, you're most likely going to come into situations that aren't so comfortable, that we touched on. I'm a big believer that living outside of your comfort zones just shows you so much about yourself and also your relationships. Um, and I think the other thing is, as a family, you can really start to understand other points of view and other ways of life that sometimes we get so set in our ways, and especially now with the algorithm and what we're being shown, it's so specific to what we're searching and what we're already watching and consuming. It's really easy to get in these like pigeonholed views. So traveling anywhere, all of a sudden your eyes are broadened, like your mind is broadened because you are now And if you're doing it in a way that you're not going there and staying at the big chain hotel that's American owned, right? But you're going and staying in the local Airbnb, the boutique hotel. And this could even go within the states, right? You're going and visiting another state and staying local and getting to know the locals. It can be anywhere, right? Where you're really just getting to know the people, having conversations, getting to know like how do they live? What does their day to day look like? What are some of their struggles? What things do they really enjoy as a community there? What activities do they do? Animal encounters are big for us. Like we always like to add some type of conservation if it's with flora and fauna or animals, and giving back, like having that sustainability piece to be conscious of our footprint and also giving back to the community and not just kind of going there without thinking about that impact. So, like instilling these things in kids, it's an incredible way to learn. And as an engineer who's done this whole global career as well, I'm very big on experiential learning and how, yes, it's great to get some tools in the classroom, but by experiencing things is how it really gets ingrained in your head when you actually come across these things in real life.
Absolutely. So, what are the age ranges of the kids on average that come? Because when I think about this, I'm like, oh, yeah, I have young kids. This would be perfect. But then my mind goes to like teenage kids and how I read or listened to something somewhat recently that was talking about how teenage kids really need to like practice this like risk taking, and that's why
Mhm.
so many teenage kids, get into trouble with substances or, bad friends or whatever those things are, right? And so they really need these like kind of safe containers for them to like explore and like take risks. So I don't know, like zip lining, mountain climbing, these kind of things, because it helps them kind of boost that part of their brain that they're growing at that time. So what are the age ranges, and do you have programs for teenagers?
Yeah, great question. So, right now we're focused on 11-year-olds and younger. Our youngest guest has been 6 weeks old because that's kind of where I'm at in life right now with a 3 and a 5-year-old. I understand that babies, toddlers, small kids are not welcome in a lot of spaces like this or at all, right? So,
Yeah,
I
for
feel like
real.
teens are a little bit more welcomed and it becomes a bit more difficult. Like, you don't, a little bit easier. There's an ease to it when they get older because of course, you have new challenges, but you don't need to have a facilitated childcare program when you go travel with your teen. It's going to look a little bit different. So, it's something I'd love to develop in the future when I get there. Some of my team has teenagers now, so we talk about it more, what that might look like, or maybe doing some type of rites of passage for preteen and teen girls. I would love to do something like that. We've talked about like they come with their moms. So, that's in our wheelhouse of creative ideas, but right now we're 11 and under primarily. I would
Love
like to
that.
say something really quick about risk taking because here in Norway, they have a lot of male caregivers. And they recently were telling me that they try and balance the caregivers of men to women because men generally allow kids to take more risks. And they're trying at a young age here in Norway to let the kids take more risks, to climb a little bit higher, to do the riskier move. And I thought that was so interesting that they're doing that at such a young age here to introduce that and thinking about that.
That's fascinating, and I believe that so much. The way my husband wrestles with our boy, I like sometimes I just give him a look across the room. He's like, "He's fine," but there's this element to the masculine presence that
Mm.
has this like, safe container and this like trust. So we went to a play-based preschool for our older two, like starting when they were really little, and we learned actually that risky play is like a necessity of toddlers. And so I fortunately got to like get over a lot of my stuff about them like climbing a tree or like going super high up because I feel weird about heights. And so I made sure not to make them feel weird about it. And the thing I would always ask them is like, do you feel safe up there? I still ask my big kids, like, do you feel safe? Like you got up. It looks like you can get down. I saw you get up, really just instilling this sense of like, you know, self-empowerment, that their bodies are so strong and capable. And yes, they're going to fall down and get hurt, right? You're not like letting them, jump off like a roof into the pool or anything, yet. But there is this sense of like, they can fall down and still be resilient and okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, the resilience piece. And that's also part of travel too. Like when you're trying to figure out the local currency to pay for something or where to go to the grocery store locally, like this you're kind of like moving through the world in a whole different way when you're traveling. And it does bring in those elements of risk taking and resilience.
That's so true. So I get a little, what would my husband call it? I get a little like maybe anxious right before we travel. And I like the week
Mhm.
before, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to pack for food? What's lunch on the road going to look like? And there's like 97 like check boxes in my head that I need to make sure get completely done. Are we going to bring all the essential oils and the natural remedies and the this and the that? And I want to have everything and bring everything and check off everything. And so because of that, I can have a sense to get like a little anxious, for lack of a better word. Um, how would you talk to somebody like me asking for a friend who gets a little anxious when they travel? And how would you really urge them to kind of be like settled in their nervous system? Like, what are some good ways we can approach travel from just more of like a calm, grounded way instead of feeling like, oh my God, we have to do everything?
Yeah. So, first of all, ground yourself down before you travel. And I'm not saying I get this right all the time. I used to be the one who was like cramming in all the last minute work so that whoever I was handing over to had an easy time while I was away and was staying up a couple nights before, I left and feeling totally drained. But I'm now letting some of that go and preparing myself to travel and be in a better mindset. So, if you can do wellness practices that maybe you're already doing, but just really make sure you're reinforcing them ahead of time. If that's meditation, some movement, some flow in your body, um, whatever are kind of like, I really like acupuncture that balances my energy points really well. So I try to do that before I head out for travel. And that state that you are leaving with really sets the tone for the trip, right? So if you're leaving with a very nervous, drained energy already, everyone in your family is going to kind of pick up on that, right? And you're probably going to be triggered a little bit easier. So it really starts with that. I would say, like, if you have to do anything for your trip, do that. And also accept that you're going to forget some things. Like, I mean, most likely you're going to forget something on that packing list or something's going to go not as planned. And depending on where you're traveling, you're most likely going to be able to make do with whatever you have, right? Which is again part of this whole resilient piece. So that's another thing is just being accepting that something is probably going to show up unplanned that you didn't anticipate. And yeah, just accepting it and giving yourself some grace, giving yourself a hug when it happens.
Totally. I love that advice. I need to come back and listen to this before I travel because I need that reminder. So, you touched on this a little, but how does parenting compare in the US compared to where you are now in Norway?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think about this quite often because it is really interesting. In Norway, there's a lot of systems in place to support families, and there are a lot of boundaries set up for families. It's very acceptable that you work from about 9 to 3. Like normal work hours are 8 to 4 here, but it's very normal, especially if you have young kids. Like you're out of the office at 3. I just picked up my kids today at 3, and almost all the kids have been picked up already, right? So it's very normal that you spend time with your family and it's not frowned upon that you're leaving the office early. You're not expected to have like another set of babysitters or something in the evening so you can work till 5 or 6. I was shocked here when on a Friday afternoon they lock the office after 5. Like they don't want anyone there. So I see the boundaries that are set up for families. I see people spend a lot of time outdoors here. They're very nature forward. It does not matter what kind of weather it is. Like, my kids go to a forest school, Montessori style school. It's extremely affordable. It's like $300 a month to send them both there full time.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
I get that reaction all the
Everybody's falling on the ground right now, including myself. That is amazing.
They get, like, warm bread, like, they have a kitchen there on
Oh,
site, they're outside almost the entire day, like, going on foraging adventures and down to the waterfront, and they do all these incredible things. They're getting, like my daughter can already say all of the solar system planets, and she's just turned 5. Like, they just this and all in Norwegian, by the way. They are learning Norwegian by being there.
wow.
So they're already bilingual. And so and that is something that's very affordable for families and very accessible. It's 10 minutes down the road for me. I don't have to drive an hour to access something like that. So I see here they put a lot in place to make life easy, especially for families. And that really seems to put an ease into people. They seem calmer. It's a simpler life. Like, there's not a lot of material things here. We don't have Amazon. There aren't a lot of big, like, chain places. You kind of like buy local, shop local. It's a lot smaller. But yeah, you see families really spending time together and in like a simpler, slower way, which has been great for us. It took some getting used to, especially when we moved here without kids in the beginning. We were kind of like, what do we do with our Friday and Saturday nights? Like, there's only a handful of bars to go to. And now we've totally left that lifestyle behind, but it can feel a little quiet and slower, but it can also be a really great opportunity to really just be present.
Do you picture yourself staying there like for the long run, or are you just like kind of go where the wind blows you at this point?
I was go with the wind blows me for a long time. I mean, I have been to over 80 countries and I've lived in over 4 continents and like a lot of different countries for quite a bit of time. And I think at some point you feel really untethered. Like, there was a point where I'm like, I'm living out of a suitcase for years. Like, this is kind of like getting a bit old. So,
Mm-hmm.
so when we found Norway, and specifically we live in the city of Bergen, we just fell in love. And anyone out there who is into manifesting, we somehow manifested living here. We had no idea what Bergen, Norway was, but my husband told me years ago. He's from Saudi in the desert. He's like, I want to live somewhere where there's an ocean, there's mountains, and there's snow. And coming from the States, I'm like, I don't really even know where that would be. And we'd be working in the industry we're in. I don't think literally look out my window and that is our view. So it's crazy that we
What?
somehow manifested it, like, 10 years later we ended up here. But
Wow.
it's our dream. We love it here. We own 2 homes here now, so I think we're kind of becoming immigrants.
I see. You're growing
Yeah.
roots. That's amazing. You're making me want to move there, honestly. I'm like, that sounds fascinating and lovely, right? And actually, it's interesting because we are within 10 minutes of all my husband's family, even closer. Like, my kids can walk to their cousin's house and vice versa. And then they can walk to their 2 aunts' house. And then we're a 5-minute drive from my husband's parents. And that is really awesome. And we were like, there would have to be like a major reason for us to leave that because it is such a cool thing for our kids to have. And so, maybe one day, you never know, but like right now with the family, it's like this is just like our little bubble in our little village. And maybe our kids one day will, move to Norway or wherever, but feel that secure attachment that you did with your family to like go explore a little and always know they can come home. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I mean, we spend our summers now in New Jersey because my kids are American but have never lived there. So I'm bringing them back home to spend time with their cousins, their grandparents, and really get to know, like, what did a Jersey summer look like for me growing up? Because I feel like that's really important. So we're doing it a little bit backwards where they're getting all this international exposure. My sister is also living in France and she's married to a Moroccan, and there's just the 2 of us as siblings. So they're getting this, like, a lot of different cultural experiences from just the family at this point. And then I have to bring them back home to my roots too and just understand, like, where did mom come from? And and know that that whole family is there supporting them and has their back, even though we're not together all year.
That's so cool. So, where do we find out about your retreats, sign up for your retreats, and learn more about the work that you're doing?
Yeah, you can go to wanderwildfamilyretreats.com and learn about the retreats we have coming up this year. We have the spring one, April 3rd through the 6th for families, and it's a really incredible opportunity to come. The tickets are for 2 adults and 2 kids, all inclusive. So you just have to show up and we take care of everything. And we also have 2 mom and child retreats in upstate New York that are coming up this year that are both almost full at this point. So they might be full by the time you hear this, but the family one is definitely something to check out and just connect with us.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. As we close, I want to invite you, our beautiful listener, to invite what really stuck with you from this conversation. Not what you should do next, not even where you should go next, but what maybe just softened or felt familiar in a new way. I love what Monica's sharing, and it's not really just about travel. As you heard, it's so much about presence and calm, letting our children and ourselves meet the world with curiosity and openness instead of fear, and connection instead of control. You don't even have to cross borders to do that. It can happen on the dinner table, at a walk, in those small moments where we choose to slow down and listen. Make sure to check out Monica's work. I know I'm going to. You can find anything that we mentioned, including that link, in the show notes. And until next time, go love someone well.